a lot of match days, and I feel like at some point, match days, you just have so many that it's like you're just getting a lot of practice from them.
Draft definitely going to be very interesting. I'm glad you mentioned the Kalista Renata into the Alistar because the R4 Alistar is coming back. Not always on red side, obviously, but seeing a lot more Kalista Renata into that. So curious to see what we get from this draft. As Poppy and Vi going to be taken away already, Cassiopeia and Jace. Jace definitely a good ban against Kiin. You know, I mentioned in the first series that not every Ryze group can really make the most of it. Kiin can.
Yeah.
He definitely can.
Does seem like Gen.G remember the lock game quite vividly. We'll ban that one away, not wanting to give it over to Zeka. And, you know, some of the picks that we saw banned during that recent Casper Cup series are like the Olaf, which hasn't been touched yet and has risen so much in priority. Will just be Cassio, Jace, Orianna, which feels like a pretty standard second pick set of bans. My real question is, how quickly will the Olaf be snapped up in this draft? We're going to get Elise in first and foremost for Canyon, and we'll see what that ends up being paired with. Hopefully some setup for the team. And now over to HLE. We do see Skarner often picked into Lee Sin, although don't necessarily need to prioritize that now.
Yeah, and it feels like a little bit less so very recently, you know, with the rapid changes we're getting in the meta.
So,
Jhin, Shen, maybe.
in a classic for Gumayusi. One thing also is that Ryze with Lee Sin, pretty potent, pretty powerful. So I'm wondering if that gets denied or picked up. Being able to set up the Lee Sin with the root and also just play the map. HLE, interestingly, hovering the Jax almost as if it's like a message, like, I dare you to pick Olaf.
Yeah, don't do it.
But in the end, it looks like they're going to go for the Jarvan, which I feel like Lee Sin's pretty happy with that matchup, being able to dodge away from his key abilities and have some early pressure in the matchup. But does give HLE some pretty solid team fight, and also, I think, put some emphasis maybe on Gen.G getting an AD carry who can circumvent the Cataclysm. There's still Ezreal, there's still Corki, still Lucian, so maybe ended up prioritizing AD carry here, or maybe there's enough of them that you can just leave it. The Olaf comes through, and now the Ryze is going to be paired with Lee Sin, which I think is a great combo, but Olaf in a J4 specifically, you can just Cataclysm him and like flag and drag out, and he's stuck in the cage. And he has no one to hit to keep up his ults. So we've seen that strategy employed a few times.
Yeah, also very important because Jhin is picked here with the jungle. They can't respond to both top and mid. So if you pick Victor, you know, maybe Jax and Kled get banned. If you pick Jax or Kled, maybe the Victor or some of these other picks in mid get banned. So Vayne going to be the play here for top lane.
Yeah, the Jax was hovered, but he will just go for the Vayne into the Olaf. A matchup that isn't particularly fun, but we've seen the Olaf really turn these rain matchups on their head if you can get on top of them. It's about waiting for your moment for the right axe. If you catch an axe and you predict a tumble at the same time, you can just charge them. The Condemn, though, very valuable, especially pre-6. There's not much you can do about that. And immediately, the Ezreal is banned. Talked a bit about having an AD carry you can circumvent. The Cataclysm is really valuable. Ezreal's obviously one of them. In my mind, I'm thinking Lucian. I'm thinking Corki, but could also even go away towards something like Ziggs if you really wanted to. Now for bans from Gen.G, maybe you're worried about things like Shen, Bard, even Camille's been open in the bot lane. They do go for that Syndra we've often seen into the Ryze, and you could honestly just go Syndra, Anivia in theory. You know, Zeka hasn't actually played an Anivia game this season, so maybe this portion of the season, round 3 and 4, so maybe not as concerned. We do get the Camille ban coming through from the side of HLE.
Yeah. I wonder how Zeka would feel about something a little bit more tanky, a little bit more supportive. I don't think Galio is a great pick into the Ryze, but you already have 280 carries and Jarvan for engage. Shen is going to be banned here, so Camille and Shen are gone.
So I imagine it'll just be mid here, unless there's a support you really want to prio, but I think it's so risky, given that Gen.G have been notorious about picking the likes of Kalista Renata. I think it's safer just to go mid here for Zeka and then have that support counter pick when you have full information. And they're going to go for the Taliyah. We've seen the Taliyah a good amount into the Ryze. Also good into Lee Sin. Horrific into Olaf, but I guess you're hoping that Zeus will deal with that. And they actually switch it up to the Annie instead. So a lot of setup for the mid jungle. You have setup, you have a high DPS top laner. You have a Jhin who can obviously follow up on that. But I don't feel like you have phenomenal tools for the Olaf if he does get ahead, other than the Jarvan cage. But we'll have to see how the top lane goes. Will likely be very impactful on the outcome of this game.
Spot lane here for Gen.G. Lucian Melio, Caitlyn, Bard.
Okay, Bard works. And I feel like Bard into the Jarvan feels so good. And also syncs so well with the Caitlyn. And now for the side of HLE, Shen's gone, Camille's gone. You can either just go like a typical engage support and be on the back foot a little bit in the bot lane, or you can pick something like Karma and match that 2v2 pressure. It looks like that's what HLE is going to do. Wanted to make sure they don't just give over the bot lane. To me, when I look at Gen.G's composition, you have a mid-jungle, a lot of synergy, a lot of setup, a lane in the bot you can play to, a lane in the top you can play to. You snowball either of these, you're going to be feeling good. For the side of HLE, it's kind of a similar story in terms of the mid-jungle, the facilitators, and you have side lanes that you do want to get ahead. I think as much as the top and bot lane matchups are really important, the mid and jungle battle for domination of the map, I feel like is going to be a big factor here.
Yeah, it definitely feels pretty good there. This comp of HLE is strangely reminiscent of the one we just saw from B&K Fear X in their game 3, where they had Annie and Vayne and Kai'Sa.
Yeah.
Where it's like you've got this double AD carry, and then you have Annie who kind of goes in, stuns, dies, Tibbers does a bunch of damage, and you just have like overloaded damage. I do feel like Gen.G have more answers into it than we saw from QMDRX, though.
To me, I'm just a little bit concerned about specifically Annie into Ryze, Jarvan into Lee Sin. I think I give the edge to the Ryze Lee Sin. And if they get momentum, it could just turn this whole game on its head.
Yeah, theoretically, on paper. We've seen, though, the execution so important nowadays. Let's see what happens here as we hop on the rift for game number 1.
미니언들이 생성되었습니다.
All right, game number 1 as we enter our Legend group match. And sometimes the Ryze group brings all the entertainment, all the action. I do feel like our Ryze group match was not the most interesting just because the games were very one-sided. So I really do hope that this one is a close one between these two. They've really matched each other well, and it's been close between them in a lot of the series we've seen in recent times. So hoping for a good one here.
Interesting now, the trade between Zeka and Chovy. Zeka got the jump. Oh, wow.
That is Ignite at level 1. So Kiin really trying to control this right from the get-go. Hits that undertow right at the end, which is definitely really important.
Gotta be careful when Zeus has that lethal tempo stacked up and try to go in the brush, but there was a ward there. Level 1 bot lane. Karma has a lot of pressure, having the ult available already.
What is that Caitlyn skin? I don't think I've ever seen that before. Is that a new one?
No. No.
Huh. Well, Aux is on the case, just like Caitlyn. He is going to...
She does say that.
Yeah, she does. I don't think she searches on the internet for what skin she's wearing now, but... yeah, looks pretty cool. Looks pretty interesting. I like how the gun lights up when you've got a crit ready. A headshot, I should say. And, I mean, so far this lane is going pretty evenly. We saw that Ruler and Duro got pushed in early, as you would expect, from Karma and Jhin. Have you figured it out, Aux?
No. Is it a chroma? I feel like you've just stun-locked me now by moving on to this topic of conversation. So a lot of fights happening early in lane. Obviously, Ignite burned by Kiin. It's not League Classic. You don't get extra stats for burning Ignite. I don't know if that's actually in League Classic, but it used to be a thing. But the bot lane 2v2 isn't going too hard for Ruler and Duro. Karma does have that early pressure.
Pulse Fire Chroma.
Oh, it is a Pulse Fire Chroma. Okay. That makes sense. I'm glad we could answer that burning question that we had on our minds.
It's really important. Gotta know what skins players are playing with.
I'm interested to see where the first bit of jungle impact comes through. Obviously, both junglers just cleared through. Shuttlecraft's been taken, ward down by Kanavi here. But with how heavily these lanes have been trading, it's just like there's a little push, which just knocked them over the edge. And it's just cool at game 1 of the series between these two teams. We're seeing fighting already, trying to establish dominance in the matchup. So we do see Canyon move on to his Raptors for the respawn. Is spotted on that ward that was placed earlier. And Kanavi, currently there isn't information on him. You've seen that Gen.G have gotten a decent amount of vision around mid lane, but haven't seen Kanavi yet. Duro taking a bit of a chunk there. Does have the Coco to get him back up to full HP.
Yeah. He's chilling. I mean, it's going to be some extra poke from Karma versus a little bit of extra sustain from the Bard. But the pushing power definitely goes towards the HLE bot lane, as I mentioned before. Nice poke here into Duro. And Ruler has fallen a little bit behind here in terms of CS.
Yeah, Duro actually going to reset. And going to get stopped by Guma, keeping the pressure up. We did see Kanavi actually hit a scrying orb, and the cone went out to mid, so his position got pinged. So Gen.G is pretty aware of where he is right now. Duro reset, looking to get back on the map, and HLE will take their leave as well in the bot lane 2v2. Good pressure early in the matchup. Now, they went for this Karma. They didn't opt to go for an engage support. We know, obviously, the light specialist on those engage supports, but so far paying off in this bot lane 2v2.
Yeah, it's just good to get Ruler behind as much as possible, and obviously get Guma fed as much as possible. And they already had a lot of engage with Jarvan and Annie, so I guess they felt like, well, we can just go for this instead. Top lane has evened out a little bit, even though Zeus did get pushed back early. He still has the big range advantage and seems to be fine.
So I think the big thing with level 6 is you can't just bail yourself out of a situation with Condemn. If an all-in happens and Kiin can stay on you,
Well, Light's in a bit of trouble here. Trying to just dodge everything, and now actually it's Duro who's in trouble, as the root's still going to come down here, even though he flashed away. Both their supports very, very low. Canyon looking for that first kill on a Delight, but Duro the first one to go down, and Delight is still on the run. Not going to be able to dodge that E, though, as Canyon gets in onto the Drake. Nice play from him. And it's just a 1-for-1 trade for supports.
super scrappy, super manic. Chovy prepped the Realm Warp and was like, you know what? I don't want to get one shot as soon as I arrive. That doesn't sound like a good time. And it ends up just being the supports going down. It was pretty delicate, though. Canyon having to finish off the light and dash away. Well, he got focused down. We'll see the replay. This was very aggressive. They see Delight walking, and they're like, we can catch him. But it's a very early flash from Delight, and he tries to sidestep and move away from a wall so he can't be stunned. Chovy, great decision not to Realm Warp considering his HP. And you can even see Guma was moving first, so them getting Delight in getting out, well, Canyon specifically, was not a given. It was pretty tight. He even gets stunned as he gets onto the Dragon, but the chase does not come through. So a 1-for-1, but it definitely felt like Gen.G overstepped a little bit, and it took some extra effort from Canyon just to ensure it was an even trade. Now, I was talking a bit about the top lane matchup, how ult obviously means Condemn isn't a get out of jail free card. I think the problem is just when you're playing Vayne into Olaf, when you ult, it's so hard to stay on the target when Vayne is tumbling and going invisible. And also, if you throw an axe, it feels really bad to throw like a short axe. Like, you want to throw a long one so you can chase through it, but if you do that, you'll just tumble to the side.
Yeah.
And you're now like, well, my axe is all the way over here, and Vayne is all the way over there auto-attacking me.
Yeah. It's kind of crazy that, you know, we've seen so many answers to Olaf, like, over and over and over, find a lot of success. We're going to have to wait for that, though, as the Sun combo comes in. The flash with the flag and drag means Chovy is just dead. Doesn't elect the flash at the end, as he says, well, I'm just probably dead to a flag anyway, so I mean, nice little setup there.
Kanavi had Cataclysm, you flash, instantly getting dunked after that. It's a good setup play from HLE's mid-jungle there. But I think the decision to hold the flash was the correct one for Chovy. Now, they'll take that window to move onto the dragon as Kanavi's going to his topside jungle. Here's a mountain, and Kanavi's just going to take grubs in response. The trade comes through.
You can see that's that long axe. He actually tumbled away from it, but if he gets hit by the max range, then as we talked about, that can be a little bit scary.
I think, you know, we've had so many metas where the top lane matchup is just like Sion against Ornn. And you can really mess up. It doesn't really make that much of a difference. It's like you might get pushed out, you might lose some CS.
Yeah.
And then you have metas like this where it's like Ghost, Ignite. If you mess up, the game is over. You just lose.
Yeah. I mean, that's what I was talking about before, where it's like it's crazy that we have Olaf come into the meta here in the LCK and just totally take over, but then so many different responses come in as good ones to the Olaf, but also he made the meta so much more flippy, as you're talking about.
I think the problem is, like, there's some matchups where it's like you pick this into this and you just win. It's just very strong, you just win, it's very convincing. I feel like with the Olaf counters, it's a bit more like, you know, you have to play it well. You really have to be on top of your game. If you mess it up, he will just stat check you. And here, great stun setup when Chovy's going for a trade. Kanavi commits a flash to get on it. And, I mean, yeah, Chovy would have just died if he flashed regardless. So
yeah,
Kanavi gets to keep his ult. Chovy gets to keep his flash. But ultimately, Chovy just go down.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of difficult for Chovy to read that situation as trying to hit the axe here. There are 4 people in top.
Does he sense it?
Zeus has no idea. There's also no ward in the bush. And, well, he is going to dash away for now. There's the Ghost as the Contempt comes in, and he does get away from everything!
I really just thought he was... When the kick came in after the flash, you're kicked into a wall, there's a Bard, there's a Caitlyn. I was convinced that was just it. I was convinced he was just going to die, but Zeus had different things on his mind, manages to survive the 4-man attempt on his life. Nearly the full team. And the end result is, yes, a little bit of plating picked up by Ruler, but the fact that Guma got some free time in the tower bot lane is very appreciated. And now Delight will escort Zeus in to pick up this wave.
Yeah, and it's funny because Delight actually can just support the Vayne if he really wants to. He can just stay up here for now. Now the Jhin into the Olaf solo lane, not going to feel great. But as long as Guma just plays at range, he should be okay. And we do have Delight back in to join him, probably on the bottom side of the map. But here's the replay of how he gets out.
So he dodges that first axe, importantly. Here, gets kicked, and then flashes the Sonic Wave. And we saw Duro was just a little bit later. If the CC's all laid together, you're just dead. And I think Zeus pretty much did everything he had to get out of that play. So complete credit to him. It was a pretty tough situation.
Yeah. You can see how Guma's playing this. He has barrier and flash, and Kiin is playing pretty far back, so he's okay at the moment. I like how Kiin actually brought the grenade away from the minion. Looking for Canyon now as they throw everything at him. Just a snap engage as Guma's just going to flash away from that.
I love how we switched to the play mid. You know, we're praising Guma for keeping the distance, and then we look bot, and he's just getting run down. It's not a fun situation. Oh, they're not looking for him. They have Cataclysm still.
Yeah, Ragnarok comes in. He's just going to flash away and does a good job of dodging most of the bullets until the end. And he will be okay.
Yep, Guma getting some revenge. Bins the flash off Kiin. Yeah, I don't think having the Jhin into the Olaf long term is really fun or advisable for Guma. And you're also seeing the top lane. Plates are getting taken still. It's the Vayne into the Caitlyn is not phenomenal either. I think HLE's lane assignments aren't doing themselves any favors.
Yeah.
They do get the quest completion there for Zeus. Now, this play was great. Set up this trap. Made sure there was no vision there before and just one-shot release him before he gets to play the game.
Yeah, it's crazy how well they played around the vision there. Like, right around the corner. Only show Delight. Like, they're just playing really well as a unit.
Those are the proactive plays you want to make. That's the value you get if your AD carry can be independent. Just being able to set up plays like those.
Yeah. And Guma generally can be independent, just not against Olaf. So get him into a spot. They're going to stack some wards there. Just some extra vision, you know. It would be pretty interesting, actually, if you put like 2 on top of each other, they gave like a slightly larger radius. Wouldn't be very useful in mid, I guess, most of the time. Kiin is...
Imagine that with control wards. You know when you accidentally put 2 in a brush, there's actually a benefit.
And you could just stack like 5 of them. Just like covers the whole river.
You can see how that would be unbalanced, right?
Yeah. They'd also have to spend like 30 seconds clearing all 5 control wards.
Oh, man. Imagine you were playing like... I mean, I guess the one was, you know, old Rel once you had a really slow attack speed?
Yeah.
If you saw 2 control wards in a brush, you were just like, nah.
Yep. Never mind, no thanks.
Someone else can do it.
Oh, the flash! The play here from Duro is good. Kind of avoids the damage there, but Guma doesn't have his flash. The peel from Kanavi helps out for so long, but eventually he will go down. As now we have the re-engage from the side of HLE. Not quite having the damage, though, and Chovy is going to get knocked up here. Kanavi, a bit of a Kanavi moment as he loses most of his life there.
What a phenomenal play from Duro there to set up. He knew Guma had no flash from the bot lane, laning against the Olaf, and he finds a window to punish, finds an opportunity to make the pick that should secure them this dragon. It looks like Kanavi in the top side of the jungle won't even try and contest it. Great play on the Bard. We'll see the replay here. So because the ward is being hit, they get vision. Great stun, and then gets the ult straight after so you can set up the trap from Ruler. Canyon has to commit heavily to make sure they get the kill, but Azali Sin has a safety to get out. And even though some resistance is put up by HLE onto Chovy, there's just not really enough to take him out. And they can just disengage.
Yeah. Guma stayed alive for much longer than I thought he would, with, you know, the Bard ult and the trap and stuff. I guess he was at full health because some of that damage was mitigated by the tempered
And
paint.
it's a Hextech Soul with Gen.G having 2 dragons already. This feels pretty phenomenal. If you clip someone, you know, if an axe hits one person, the whole team gets slowed if they're clumped together.
Yeah.
When you're trying to chase down these ranged targets, it's insane value. So HLE, they still have a gold lead. They're definitely not out of this game at all, but if they lose the next 2 dragons, they will be in a tough spot. So that needs to be the priority. 4 minutes away, you have a bit of a gold lead, but you need to make sure you're in a comfortable position to take a 5v5 when that next dragon spawns.
Granted, I set something up, but it's actually them baiting, as now the Cataclysm comes in, but the rest of Gen.G are coming in. Kanavi goes back onto the Olaf, is now going to be chased down by Zeus. Nicely done. He's still kiting. He's still got that ult. As now the curtains will be open. Cannon tries to go in, but that's not enough damage to take out the Vayne. And it's just a 1-for-1.
Vayne's super hard to pin down, getting a lot of damage done, but a lot of members of Gen.G turn up at the situation, and Zeus can't kill all of them. It's a 1-for-1 in the end. I think HLE are too unhappy about that one. But once again, Duro got a slick little stun at the end. Didn't end up amounting to anything, but a bit more damage onto Zeus and kind of shut down his playmaking. We'll see the replay. Olaf and Jarvan, not a fun time. The knockup came out of the Fog of War, so he can ult and then he just gets cataclysmed. That does mean Kanavi's trapped in it until he flashes out. He then tries to go back in to finish the Olaf, but Zeus does. And then here, Zeus is thinking about continuing the play, but that stun comes in from Duro and allows Canyon to chunk him out. And at that point, both teams kind of just disengage from the play. Some more scrapping coming through. I think the big thing with that is the fact that Kanavi burned his flash there. So doesn't have that tool available. Kiin still has his flash in pocket. But it is HLE getting this Herald right now. No contest coming through from Gen.G.
Yeah, they brought both AD carries to that objective. So, I mean, they secured the objective, but also a lot of alone time for Kiin in bot lane. Probably going to take out this turret, especially with Zeka backing. So, I mean, you get a Rift Herald, which can probably help with securing the Drake especially. But given over a turret and some alone time means that Gen.G actually will take the gold lead now.
And I think looking towards that next dragon fight, I feel like it's all about the spikes, the item spikes that can come through. A lot of close components from second items there, so HLE really wanting to secure, finish those off, and be in a position of strength. All summoners available for Gen.G as well doesn't help, apart from that Ignite that should be up soon. And I think really, I'm looking at the Jarvan, I'm looking at the Annie. can you get on these pivotal targets? Can you get on these key members of Gen.G to make the plays happen? Not a fun time for Zeka. Saving the Tibbers, though. Doesn't want to just drop it on Chovy.
Yeah. Canyon chose.
Yeah, pressure on the play here. Will be a tower picked up for Gen.G. So that's 2 in the pocket. We'll push that gold lead even more. Chovy should be able to finish Seraphs at the back of that.
So that he waited to kill the turret just to deny that one ranged minion.
Minion maxing.
That's really where his focus is. I mean, it matters. It's good. It's a good thing to do. It's just funny because it's Chovy. Now trying to get everything in on Aguma, but he's just going to dodge pretty fast on the Jhin.
Duro's had a pretty great game so far, but that was a definite swing and a miss. Flash committed, ult committed, doesn't find anyone. And if you're Gen.G, feeling a little bit apprehensive now in that 30-second window, especially look at Ruler's items. Hasn't completed second item. He hasn't got the IE. Meanwhile, Gumayusi does have that rapid fire. I know it's not obviously maximum damage output. Obviously, Jhin needs a bit more items to get going, but it does allow you to play around that range quite effectively. Herald going to come down mid, won't take the tower. We'll get a decent chunk.
Yeah. We've seen a lot more Mosquito Jhin, as they call it, nowadays. I'm not sure why that shift has come through, but a lot more of just the no IE, no armor pen until 4th item kind of build. So would not be surprised if Guma does go for that here as well. HLE with that Rift Herald pressure, just going to take the Dragon, and Chovy is taking the top turret.
They opt to just wait to fight another day. Obviously, I said HLE needed to be confident for that 3rd Dragon. They were. They got in position. They got control. Despite the fact that Gen.G now have a gold lead, 2,000 gold lead, that kind of shows the differing focuses. Gen.G are like, look, if we don't feel great on the fight, Duro didn't manage to land his engage, let's just put our side laners in a position to get some gold. Chovy gets the Seraphs, gets some damage on the top lane tower. But it means HLE do get to pick up that Dragon, and that Soul is still minimum of like 10 minutes away if Gen.G get the next 2. So some breathing room for HLE.
Yeah, does kind of feel like we are going to go into a bit of a longer game, especially with the way that the Rift Herald was taken basically for no contest, and then the Drake was taken for basically no contest. I mean, obviously they get things on the map, which is why I say basically. And yeah, Gen.G just enjoying a small lead, trying to get their Caitlyn out of her trough. She does have that IE. Trying to get Chovy to a actualizer, going to be very important for some of these fights. So definitely looking for that spike.
I think that's the thing you can definitely bank on with the Ryze. It's just, I get 3rd item, now I just do so much damage. And it's also just the survivability as well with that mega shield. A lot of HLE's damage is burst. They're kind of relying on the Vayne for DPS. So if they're not able to burst you, you're feeling like you're in a really good spot.
Yeah, I mean, as you said, as long as the Vayne is there, and eventually when we do get, 4 or 5 items on the Jhin, he can be doing quite a lot. As just trying to fight for vision here, essentially. The Baron is up. We've seen some more earlier Barons in recent times. And yeah, they're just going to send it. Okay, they find Ruler, and the Tibbers finds 3 of them in the Cataclysm. And now we got a Vayne on the loose, as Zeus is all the room in the world. Very nice kick, though, as here comes the Olaf, trying to make something of it, but the shield saves his life. And now the root from Guma will be excellent to try to lock down Canyon, who does get away. But it's a big team fight win here to the side of HLE.
I think Canyon just saved the Baron, though, by getting out. HLE, they may be low in health. It may even be the Huni Baron, but I think if Canyon had died there, they probably would have just sent it. For him surviving, critical. But this was a phenomenal engage from Kanavi. Flash Cataclysm on a 3. Double knock-up onto the backline, followed up by the stun. And then Duro uses the Tempered Fate, but it hits Zeka, who kind of appreciates the stasis to buy some time. We then see the Olaf trying to run down members, but Kanavi survives. Kiin goes down. But this moment, in fact, even the knockback from the Baron, I think, got him further away to break the tether. I think if Canyon dies, they just kill the Baron. There's a decent chance, but by getting away, being that threat with Flash still available to steal it, they opt not to commit. It's still a big fight win for HLE. A lot of summoners burnt, though. It's basically just Duro, Canyon, and Zeus with flashes. And that's going to be true for that dragon in a minute 45. I don't think HLE are too upset about this, though. When you have a Jarvan, people being down flashes feels pretty good. You can either peel the Olaf, ult him, flag and drag away. You can ult Chovy. You can ult Ruler, but he can net out. But maybe if the net's not available, you can also ult him and then flag and drag when he goes to the net. But options, I think for Gen.G it's really Duro. I mean, guess Canyon too. Canyon having flash advantage and Duro is quite big. You're going to go for a kick flash, you're going to go for a tempered fate. So I think these engages are the ones to watch in the setup for this next dragon and what they can do.
Yeah, gonna commit to the Cataclysm here. As
he doesn't have Realm Warp.
Chovy just trying to run away, and yeah, now 1 second until it came up, and it came up as he died. Zeus eventually catches up. And yeah, I mean, no flash on Chovy, no Realm Warp as well.
The Realm Warp was seconds away, so just a phenomenal read by Kanavi to go for that play and get in before that was available. Because I think if he Cataclysmed otherwise, and he had Realm Warp, he would have just popped it. I think the big thing here, though, so he flag and drags, autos him a bit, then waits, then Cataclysms now. Maybe the thought process was if he Realm Warps, now he has flag and drag again, so he'd be able to cancel it. I think that's what was going through Kanavi's mind, because as much as it'd be sick if he did, I think tracking the Realm Warp cooldown down to the second is quite difficult. But either way, a great play, great setup by Kanavi, gets a kill on the Chovy. He does have TP though, and will be back in time for the Dragon.
There's no Cataclysm for now. I mean, this is coming up in 8 seconds, so...
That's a big aspect. The Cataclysm burn gets you the kill, but it's down for the Dragon.
Also, Gen.G love being set up on this objective when they have a Caitlyn and a Bard. Now Duro, with nice little portal to get away there. But TV's coming in, and HLE, they want to fight for this. They at least want to flip the objective. 5 seconds on the Cataclysm. Just going to be a flip, and the smite is good to Kanavi. As now Canyon wants to make something of it. The kick is just laughable. As now the Cataclysm comes in, and immediately Kanavi does die, but creates a lot of room for this DPS to get the job done. Chovy, surprisingly tanky, but eventually they take him down. Look at the health bars of Gen.G. They just have to run away as the push is coming in.
Mid tower will definitely be forfeit. Actually, not mid tier 2. But it's a situation where they're just kind of zoned out. The Cataclysm has a massive amount of value, and Kanavi jumps in. After getting the smite, jumps in, finds 3, and just from that position, they can't fight. Even though they kill Kanavi, the Jhin ult's coming down, Kiin can't really make headway in here. It's such a winning position, that initial engage. The mid-tier 1 does go down very quickly. They're not able to get a second one, but I think HLE pretty happy with that outcome.
Yeah, you saw Canyon kind of floundering, trying to find some effectiveness. He kicks away Kanavi. Kanavi just Cataclysms in, and Canyon took a bunch of damage, and he actually flashed out of the Cataclysm to survive. After the Drake was already forfeit, I mean, I guess if he goes down, there could be some potential Baron plays, but
yeah,
now he doesn't have Flash, whereas a lot of other people do, so.
I think Kanavi has been playing with that same reckless abandon we know and love him for, and has been working very well. Not really concerned about his life, but about making the correct play for the fight. Has been working well. Ruler in a bit of trouble here on the trap.
Yeah, he's going to try to get away here with the Magical Journey, and that he does.
Portal was good. The Mantra Q from Delight was not able to hit. And despite a good setup from Guma with the kind of baiting him into the trap on his retreat, it's not enough to catch Ruler out.
Yeah. It's a lot of skirmishing back and forth, just trying to look for picks, a lot of testing each other from both of these teams. And a lot of summoners up at this point. Good push there as a team to take down that Scuttle Crab.
It's kind of an interesting thing, because all the summoners were down for Dragon, they're now all up now, which is kind of a rare situation in a game. Does mean that if you can make a play, you can burn a summoner before the next Dragon. It's going to feel really good if everyone else has it but them. But there's always that concern with the Baron on the cards. If you try and do that, try and burn a summoner and just overstep die, that you will be sacrificing the Baron and maybe the game. We do have both AD carries and picked up Infinity Edges coming through. Some big spikes. Actualizer for Chovy. He's about to hit level 17. He is extremely strong. And No GA yet for either jungler, but that's definitely on the cards as a big value buy.
See this Shirelia's from Delight. Good luck catching the Vayne if they're in a team fight together. I don't really know how they're going to do it. You know, there's no Mikhails, no cleanse, I guess. So maybe if you land a Ryze route, that could be one way to do it. Or if you get a Bard ult on her.
Yeah, you could, like, if you get close to her, you could kick her, but it's really hard against a Vayne who can go invisible very often.
And is running them super fast.
Yeah, not the best comp for dealing with the Vayne. Oh, but a Realm Warp behind here.
This is the definition of hide on bush.
Oh, Zeka doesn't have TP yet.
Yeah, he's going to have to run just into the turret and take the overgrowth down, as now the rest of the team is coming on up to try to get Zeka. Look at the damage from the actualizer as a bunch is traded back, but that is a very large shield that he did have there.
So obviously Zeka goes down there. It's a good play to pick up from Gen.G, but I think it's actually important that Zeka burnt the Seraph shield and Chovy was forced to use the actualizer there to kill him, making Gen.G a bit weaker so they can't just move straight into the Baron. Now Kiin actually in a bit of trouble. Holds the ult, but does get chunked out there.
Yeah. Gumayusi's been really on point with his roots in this game. It just feels like, you know, very comfortable on the Jhin. Certainly helps that it is quite meta nowadays. Just able to... It was first pick for them, but they weren't first pick as a team. But
yeah.
Still, definitely a lot of priority on that one.
So we do have Gen.G now have GA on Canyon. They haven't picked up a dragon in over 10 minutes, so obviously we'd love to get that.
You're not going to get him with that. That's the Bard ult down, as now Kanavi's going to go in, he catches Ruler, Delight flashes in for the root, and look at the follow-up from the Vayne is just incredible, as there's just no way for Ruler to get away from that, as, you're not going to get out of there, though, Zeus. I was very hyped for the original play, but not sure about that.
Not a magical journey I would encourage you to take.
But they're going to get the Drake anyway.
They will get the Drake, and even Zeka's going to use the Tibbers to wood over here. So this play, just trying to free aim with the bottle, doesn't work against a combo with Shirelia's. In the turnaround play, though, they go for Ruler with a flag and drag. Kanavi again doing this mad engage, and Delight keeps pace with Ruler with the flash to land the tether. Just great engages from HLE, and then whatever that was.
Overexcitement, I guess.
Yeah, but Kanavi doing a phenomenal job of finding the targets, and Delight, considering you're playing Karma, a pick you're not expecting to be assisting with the engages other than speeding people up, landed the root, landed the tether onto Ruler, and it just ensured his death. Really good play. Also, you know, the Shirelia's being able to move out the bottle just really limits the impact of the pick. 3 Hextech Dragons in a row now. Some nice stats for HLE, but also the prospect of a soul in 4 minutes is a very scary prospect.
Yeah, and I feel like at this point, they're just going to try to Realm Warp on top of that. I mean, he flashes, he roots, he is going to get the kill as the headshot comes in. And Guma gets caught in mid. I thought 100% he gets out there, but Gen.G had other thoughts.
He ended up getting the movement speed from Karma and thought, this is enough. I can live with this, I can hold my flash. The end result, though, is it kind of baited him into staying around and not flashing, and then ends up dying anyway. Ruler picking up the kill, and the team picking up the Baron. Gen.G able to find an angle back in on the back of that Realm Warp from Chovy.
Yeah. You know, I talked about trying to catch a Vayne, and maybe the Ryze would be the one way to do it, but similar situation for the Jhin. Still no cleanse.
So they go for the Realm Warp here, and then Guma gets sped up and gets a movement speed from the auto and thinks it's enough, but the root comes out, and that final auto. You know what's crazy? If he'd flashed into the Tempered Fate, maybe he would have lived, but that is, I don't think that makes sense at all to do, but it was just such a close situation where Ruler had to get the final auto on him to kill him, and it just did so much damage.
It's not a play you'll see very often, especially with the Karma right there.
It's one of these plays where, like, there was so many ways in which it just wouldn't work, but it did. And I think it's, you kind of have to try these sorts of plays when you're against a team so similar in terms of level, and just make it work, just execute better. Baron now in hands, they can look for some sieging, but Kanavi has a GA. He kind of plays all game like he has one.
Uh-oh.
There's trouble.
Here we go again, as there you go. There's the root into the stun and the kick, and it's easy pickings if Zeus is alone. And he didn't have flash, so nice look once again. Chovy just setting up the plays with the Realm Warps.
The disruption the Realm Warp is causing, the ability to pick off these isolated targets is so strong, so valuable, and Chovy doing such a good job of it. It is really just taking all of HLE's momentum out of this game.
Yeah, I mean, HLE got essentially 3 uncontested Drakes in a row, and then just one pick into another, and all of a sudden it looks like Gen.G might win the game. I mean, obviously, it's still anybody's game from here, but advantage Gen.G. Zeka, they clear out the wave. We still got a minute on this Baron, too. 17 seconds for Zeus. And they have Annie and Ba to deal with the Olaf, which never feels great.
The problem is, with HLE trapped in the base, they're not going to be able to reestablish any vision towards the Dragon area. Oh.
All right, looking for something here. Everybody going to dodge that Bard ultimate.
But right now, there isn't any vision in the anywhere towards the river. Gen.G going to go for a reset with that Baron recall still available, clear out these jungle camps, and get back on the map and defend the Dragon area. So this one may be in the bag for them. Here we see the Realm Orb coming in, the root into the stun. I think maybe the kick was a little overkill, but I don't hate it just for making sure like we're securing this kill immediately. Like the kick flash, I mean.
Yeah.
But sometimes you just want to really make sure you get that kill. Don't give a chance for Zeus to escape it like he did in the top lane earlier in the game. Now, 55 seconds on Dragon. You can see HLE opting to push mid and then rotate through the jungle to try and establish some vision. It's really hard to approach, though, when there's a prospect of being picked. Letting Kanavi lead the charge. But you can see that like ring of wards that Gen.G has up already. And you said it earlier. You know, Gen.G want to have control of the area, want to be able to set up Caitlyn traps to stop you pushing in and contesting.
Yeah, and just having vision control means that the engage of the Annie and the Jarvan will be much more difficult unless they just go straight up the middle, which has been what they're doing a lot of the time. Good control of the mid lane, which allows them to get the push and control in towards this Dragon. This Ruler's going to have to back away, and now look at the mid lane. Gen.G have not responded to that yet. Looking maybe to just overcommit to the Drake, which obviously is very important.
Look at Kiin's angle here. The Scryer won't actually catch him.
Oh, Zeus looking for the Bard, but I don't know. Now we got the Olaf going into the backline. Kanavi's very low himself. The Olaf not able to get the kill, but now Kanavi goes in, forces the flash to Ruler. As now we're going to have the follow-up here, but Kanavi's down. And that's no jungler now. So Gen.G just going to look at the Baron, or the Dragon, rather.
Ooh, nearly catching Canyon with that there. Gen.G end up getting favorable play, end up getting the Dragon, which was the main objective. And the fact that they managed to kill Kanavi after the GA feels pretty good. Duro will just kills himself and dip. Good call. So I think in this fight, I think Kiin actually misplayed it a little bit because he flashed over the wall and then he axed, and then it was just miles away from where he's chasing the target, so he couldn't follow up. But while he's occupying the backline, we end up seeing the rest of the team, the rest of Gen.G focus down on Kanavi. He does this last Cataclysm, but the problem is GA into Caitlyn is just a free headshot for her. So even though Kiin didn't get the greatest axe to get value there, he was just causing so much disruption for the backline carries that it gave Gen.G the space to get control of the fight. It's now 3 dragons apiece, maximum elemental dragons here, with a Hextech Soul on the cards. And Gen.G do have that 4,700 gold lead. It does obviously make a difference. Zeka not having Rabadons completed feels bad. But ultimately, this game still feels so close, and the gold is just less and less relevant as the time ticks on.
Yeah, I mean, there are so many ways, as we've already seen, for both teams to get snap, engage, and kills, like picks out of nowhere. A Realm Warp comes in, gets a lone AD carry, or obviously Annie Flash gets someone. A little bit more obvious on the side of HLE. A little bit more difficult that they are behind on gold, but it's, it's 37-minute game, 4,000 gold. That's really not that big of a deal. I think it's just going to come down to better vision control, better macro, and who makes the better play.
A lot of the lead also is in the jungle between those two. So Not really the end of the world.
They're just doing this on vision. I mean,
Yeah, they're just starting this up. They have a lot of DPS on it. Remember, guys, this is the Huni Baron. This is the one that does do a lot of damage.
yeah, and they might just flip it, I guess. I mean, Realm Warp's going to come in. Jovy's very far behind the team, as now he's looking for the angle on a Zeka. They want to turn onto Chovy, but he just flashes away and tries to blow up Zeus. Just like that, goes golden immediately. And the Ryze does what he does best. As now they just kite it out. Kanavi desperately trying to get in there. Good with the last one left. A clean ace for the side of Gen.G as they will win this game.
They'll be able to end on the back of this. Not a single member goes down despite the low health bars. The target selection is excellent here from Gen.G, and Chovy is just too tanky and doing too much damage for HLE to take down. The DPS just not quite there, and Gen.G will push towards the end.
Like, this feels like Chovy, he didn't have the best early game, and then he was like, no, let me just solo win this game. I don't know, all the picks and then that play there as well. Not respecting the Ryze was HLE.
You know, I mentioned how Chovy had a bit of an off series at the Casper Cup and how it was notable because it's such a rarity and oddity. This game, he reminds you why.